Hey guys, tonight we step into something older than language, older than memory. A quiet forest where every leaf has seen death, and none are afraid of it. The ground is soft with centuries of footsteps, and the trees, tall, hushed, gently swaying, seem to lean in as you arrive. You've just died. You probably wouldn't survive the reception, but don't worry. This is the softest kind of ending. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're listening under the stars, or wrapped in a blanket, let me know where and when in the comments. This forest grows brighter with your presence. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You walk. Not with feet anymore, but with intention. You move through shadow and mist like candle smoke in a cathedral. The air is heavy with loam, moss, pine, and something else. Something you can't name but recognize anyway. The forest is waiting. Not for your arrival. You're already here. It waits for your surrender. Up ahead, a clearing opens like a breath held too long. There's no altar, no stone, no temple, just moss that knows your weight and roots that remember your name. Some ancient cultures believed the forest was the original resting place. Before graves, before tombs, bodies were given back to trees, tucked beneath branches, wrapped in leaves, left for the earth to kiss slowly, tenderly. You kneel, or rather, your presence does. You feel the old pull, downward, inward. The forest recognizes you. In Norse tradition, there is the sacred skog, the death forest. It is said that all warriors, farmers, mothers, lovers, when they die, walk through their memory of forest, not a real one, their forest, the one their soul shaped from every tree they ever noticed. This one feels familiar, as if you've been dreaming it all your life. Somewhere nearby, a fox watches. It does not fear you. Animals here do not fear the dead. They see you more clearly now than they ever did in life. You hear something, not a sound exactly, but a low, rhythmic breath in the earth. The forest is exhaling, welcoming. You recall a fringe belief from an Eastern sect that the moment of death takes you to the nearest ancient tree and you rest within its dreaming. This might be that dream. You lay down. You don't mean to. The ground simply cradles you. Soft moss, cool bark, a bed older than fire. No one speaks, but the silence feels crowded with presence. Old souls. Root spirits. The memory of deer. You feel your outline fade, not vanish, just loosen. Like a coat unbuttoning, like a story reaching its last chapter. Scholars still debate whether consciousness lingers after death, if awareness is a flicker, a final echo, a trick of chemicals. But here, in this hush, you know one thing with certainty. You are still you. And yet, already something more. You look up. The canopy stretches high, filtering starlight into strands of silver and green. In some indigenous Australian traditions, the Milky Way is a river of spirits, and trees are its roots on earth, each one holding the soul of someone who loved. You feel held, not buried, not discarded, held. The bark closest to you pulses faintly, as if saying, "Welcome home." And you realize, with a clarity you never had in life, the forest doesn't mark the end. It marks the return. You are not being taken. You are being remembered. Already you can feel the roots waiting for the moment your body touches soil. Not to consume, but to embrace. But that part comes soon. For now, you are simply resting. At the forest's edge, at death's edge, with no fear, no ache, no need, just stillness. And the breath of trees rising and falling, as if they've always known you would come. The earth is patient beneath you. It doesn't hurry your return. Instead, it receives you like an old friend, like a river receiving rain that once fell in another country. Your body lies in the clearing now, not embalmed, not altered, just you, wrapped in the quiet. Above, the leaves shift gently, and below, the moss thickens like a woven shawl. You are offered to the forest, not in sacrifice, but in gratitude. Long ago, across many lands, the dead were placed upon the ground, on open platforms, wrapped in cloth or leaves, or laid into shallow beds of earth. Offerings were made: milk, grain, bits of song. They believed the forest needed to be fed not just with flesh, but with intention. You feel that now, a subtle ritual unfolding around you. Even if no human stands nearby, the forest performs its rite. A fox circles once, then disappears. Crows watch from the high boughs. Moss creeps forward, not ominous, just intimate. Your fingers begin to cool, not from cold, but from release. The blood no longer circles. The cells begin to sleep. Somewhere in the Amazon, there are tribes who place the body in a hammock, hung between trees, so that the forest may rock the soul as it leaves. You feel that gentle rocking now, though you do not move. Offerings happen in silence. A drop of rain on your cheek. A beetle tracing the line of your jaw. The hush of pine needles falling. Each one a quiet benediction. You are becoming less bound. Your breath, which once rose and fell like ocean waves, is gone. But the rhythm remains, in the wind, in the way leaves flicker, in the sway of grass. Scholars still debate what happens to the mind in these first hours, whether a flicker of awareness lingers, a residue of self. But here, that question feels less urgent. You are not thinking, you are being. The ground beneath you remembers other bodies, others who lay here, birds, beasts, other people whose names have faded like bark into soil. You are not alone. In parts of Eastern Europe, there were forest cults who believed each grove had a guardian, a spirit that watched the dead and sang them to rest. You think you hear singing, not notes, but something slower. The hum of mycelium, the rustle of beetles, the whisper of decomposition as devotion. Your skin begins to change, not visibly, but deeply. The barriers dissolve first. You open. Cell walls soften. Moisture begins to move, not outward, but downward, as if returning home. The moss welcomes it. The roots sigh in recognition. There is no fear in this surrender, only continuity. A fringe belief from a mountain monastery once taught that the soul could only ascend once the body had given back its warmth to the ground. That the heat in your chest was a borrowed fire, and it must be returned gently. You feel that release now. Not all at once, like a candle fading through dusk, like memory softening at the edges. The forest performs no autopsy, it simply receives. No one here needs to know your story, your face, your titles. The only thing the forest asks is, will you give yourself fully? And you do. Without resistance, without words. Your body lies still, but the energy around you thickens. Insects begin their arrival. Quiet, curious. They pause at your edges like monks entering a chapel. This is not invasion, it is reverence. You are not being broken down. You are being unbound. In ancient Celtic lands, bodies were sometimes buried with tree saplings. The belief was simple. You die, a tree grows, and the forest remembers. You wonder what might grow from you. Not just branches, but meaning. Not just roots, but return. The air is heavy with the perfume of soil and skin, a scent both old and intimate. And beneath your body, tiny threads stretch outward. Fungi, filaments of connection, weaving your story into the next layer of life. You are becoming something more by becoming less. The offerings have been made, the forest accepts, and your journey deepens. Now the forest begins its quiet dance around you. There are no drums, no chants, but movement begins nonetheless. It comes not with sound, but with purpose. The Bark-Clad Priests of Decay arrive. You don't see them, not exactly, but you feel them. Tiny lives stepping gently into the sacred hollow of your form. They do not tear, they do not conquer. They unravel. Mushrooms first. Little white caps rise near your ribs, breaking through the moss like stars rising from soil. Then dark ones, round and thoughtful. Then those that glow faintly blue, like memories from a childhood dream. In many folk beliefs, mushrooms are more than food or fungus. They are bridges between the living and the dead, between earth and ether. In Slavic tales, the forest spirits wear mushroom crowns. To eat from their circle was to step outside of time. To sleep beneath them was to glimpse your past lives in your dreams. You're not dreaming now, but the mushroom's touch is tender. They grow not from you, but with you. From the damp warmth of what you left behind. Insects follow, not in swarm, but in procession. Beetles, precise and polite. Their antennae brush against what used to be your hip. Their shells shine like polished wood. They pause as if in prayer before entering. Flies come too, brief visitors, laying tiny offerings into the folds of skin that no longer remembers sensation. And beneath it all, the mycelium, the silent web, tendrils thinner than threads, stretching from your spine into the forest floor. You don't see them, few ever do, but they are there, remembering, connecting, writing your story in the soil's invisible library. Some fringe traditions believe fungi are the forest's archivists, that they store every death, every song, every surrender. You wonder what yours will be titled. The forest isn't eating you. It's studying you, transforming you, reading you aloud, one cell at a time. In certain Buddhist mountain temples, the dead are laid on sacred platforms, open to birds, to wind, to rain. The monks do not watch in sorrow, they watch in awe, for they believe that every being which comes to the body is an aspect of the divine, come to carry it home. You are being carried now, not upward, not outward, but inward. Your body, once so private, so clothed and guarded, is now a gift. Unwrapped not in haste, but in ceremony. The insects are patient. They wait their turn. The mushrooms pulse with quiet energy. You feel their threads enter the bones, tickle the spaces between vertebrae. You are not hurt. You are not mourned. You are honored. Scholars still debate the exact timeline of decay, the chemical pathways, the rates of transformation. But here in the forest, time is not measured in hours or days. It is measured in softness, in silence, in the steadiness of return. A centipede coils inside the cradle of your ribs, not to hide, but to listen, to rest. In indigenous North American tales, these tiny beings are seen as messengers. They carry parts of the soul into the underroots, delivering pieces of who you were to the trees who wait to dream of you. You begin to feel that, not loss, expansion. The beetle moves from cheek to collarbone. The moss thickens around your arms. Mushrooms now glow near your temple. You look like a shrine, because you are. And the bark-clad priests continue their work. They do not need instruction. They have always known the way. From bird to squirrel, from deer to you. They have walked this path before. They do not mourn, they transform. Your body is no longer entirely yours, but neither is it gone. It is being rewritten, and soon it will read, moss-covered, spirit-fed, forever part of the forest. The forest is quiet, but beneath the hush, your bones begin to murmur. They do not scream, do not snap, do not cry out. They soften, settle, whisper. What once stood tall, spine straight, limbs limber, hands that reached, now bows gently to the weight of return. You feel it before it happens. That shift from architecture to ash, from scaffolding to soil. Bones are the storytellers of the body. They remember the breaks, the growth, the strength once carried. They hold, even in silence, the echo of movement. And now, they become the final breath of your form. In many ancient cultures, bones were not buried and forgotten. They were revered, hung in sacred trees, painted with ochre, carried in pouches by wanderers. In the Philippines, some tribes placed bones in cliffside coffins open to wind and sky. They believed bones were the purest part of the self, a vessel too stubborn to forget. You can feel that in your own. Not pain, but memory. Not holding on, but releasing with reverence. Your jaw loosens, teeth no longer clenched. Not from fear, from peace. Your spine, once a ladder of intention, begins to bend into the earth. The vertebrae rest in one another's arms, like monks in a slow procession. And deep within, marrow, dark, rich, private, begins to fade. Some scholars believe marrow is the last to break down, that it holds the body's deepest secrets, immune codes, ancestral echoes. Some traditions say it holds your dreams. You wonder what yours carried. In old Chinese medicine, marrow was thought to nourish the soul directly, to heal it, to anchor it. Now it mingles with root and stone, feeding not just trees, but silence. Your ribs fold inward slightly, as if in prayer. They once protected your heart. Now they release it. Your skull, still solid, begins to echo differently. It no longer echoes thought. It holds the sound of the wind, a flute made of memory. In parts of Papua New Guinea, the skulls of the dead are sometimes decorated, placed in homes, spoken to. Not to cling, but to remember. Because bones don't demand attention, they just endure. Even now, as your structure begins its surrender, your bones take their time. Slow, sacred. A fringe belief from old Welsh hills spoke of bone sleep, that bones dream long after the soul departs, that they hum into the earth, telling stories to worms, singing lullabies to seeds. And here, you hum too, not as voice, but as residue. Your femurs soften, your fingers curl, not in agony, but in rest. The pelvis opens slightly, the cradle of creation, now a basket for forest breath. Scholars debate whether bones have memory, but here in the hush, you feel the answer is yes. Because even as you dissolve, you recognize something. You are being remembered by the beetles who pause on your sternum, by the mushrooms that bloom near your hips, by the roots that nudge gently against your spine, and most of all, by the forest itself. You are no longer architecture. You are artifact, not ancient, not lost, but folded into the deep remembering of the world. Your bones may crumble, but your shape will remain in the soft bend of roots, in the hollow curve of leaves, in the pause of wind that passes through a grove at dusk. You are not gone. You are becoming the quiet. And in this moment, your skeleton sighs. Its work is done, and the forest listens as you fall gently into the long, sacred sleep of the earth. Now the sky joins the ritual. Rain falls, not in torrents, not in fury, but in threads. Soft as breath, gentle as goodbye. It beads along the branches first, then slides down trunks, trickles through moss, and finally finds you. Your body receives it like a final touch, not a washing, a blessing. Each drop holds the memory of clouds, the patience of rivers, the hush of mountain mist. This is no ordinary rain. It is ritual. Tibetan sky burials come to mind. Bodies lifted to mountain peaks, offered to birds, to wind, to the high breath of the world. A returning, not just to earth, but to air. You are not on a mountaintop. You are nestled in the heart of a forest. But the offering is the same. The rain is the sky's way of receiving you. It seeps into what remains of your skin, soaks through fibers, fills hollows where organs once breathed, and the roots respond. They stretch toward you, drawn by warmth, by memory, by the nutrients you release in your surrender. Tiny root hairs press softly against your marrow. They do not rush, they do not scrape, they absorb. Some indigenous traditions teach that roots listen, that when the dead return to the soil, the trees remember them, not with words, but with rings. Each growth mark, a silent echo of someone fed by rain and love and time. Scholars still debate whether trees retain memory, but the forest around you sways in agreement. Rain continues. It darkens the bark. It stirs small puddles near your resting place. And in those pools, insects drink. Tiny frogs arrive perched on stones, listening. Even the animals know, this is holy. Your body, already softened by the forest's breath, now opens to the sky's kiss. Water mingles with what you were, and what you were becomes what you will become. This is the second burial, not of dirt, of element. The body, offered first to the moss and beetles, now melts into the cycle of rain, into the pulse of groundwater, into the cup of the next cloud forming far away. In an old Japanese folk tale, it is said that a drop of rain contains a soul. That when someone dies, their spirit rides the raindrop to greet a tree, a bird, a flower they once loved. You wonder where your raindrop will fall. Rain continues its rhythm. And now, from the roots, tiny tendrils lift. Moss creeps across your shoulder. Lichen finds its way into the crease of your spine. The earth does not erase you. It inscribes you. You are becoming the forest's memory. The bark above you thickens. Leaves above tilt gently to catch more water. A canopy of emerald reverence. And you lie below, your body becoming river, becoming soil, becoming silence. No one names this phase in textbooks. They describe it as decomposition. But here, now you know better. It is communion, with sky, with root, with every ancestor who fell before you and rose again in moss and rain. A fringe belief from deep Amazonian lore speaks of sky vines, not plants, but spirit ropes braided from water and time. They say the soul climbs these vines, one drop at a time, until it finds its next home. Perhaps you are climbing even now, not away from the body, but deeper into it, into the body of the forest. The rain slows, the sky clears, the droplets remain, glistening on bark and bone. Your body has been baptized, not into religion, but into return. And the roots, still hungry, still tender, wrap around you with quiet care. The forest does not rush, it does not forget. It simply waits, nourishes, and grows. And you, once flesh, once story, once voice, are now beginning again. Something begins to stir in the deeper stillness. Not a movement of limbs, but of meaning. The forest now knows you, not as a visitor, not as prey, but as part of its breath. Spirit trails emerge, narrow paths of air and light that weave through fern and fog, invisible to those who rush, but unmistakable to those who listen. You follow one now, not with feet, but with awareness. Like mist tracing the shape of branches, you move. This is not a path made by animals. It is older. Some cultures call these the roads of the departed. Others, the dreaming lines. Mystics speak of spirit corridors that only appear once the soul has begun to loosen from the physical world. You walk, or rather, you are drawn. The trail winds through thick moss, under arching roots, over streams that hum with frog song and memory. Each turn feels familiar. You've never been here, and yet you have. Because the spirit trail is made from memory and longing, woven from every moment you paused to wonder, every time you felt beauty and didn't have the words, every time you listened, really listened, to wind in the trees or laughter in a stranger's voice. Those moments built this path, and now they welcome you home. In the Shinto tradition, there is the concept of kami-do, the spirit way, a thread of presence that connects all things sacred. They believe the dead walk these paths to rejoin the spirits of mountains, rivers, and stars. You feel something like that now. Not ascent, not descent, but return. As you move, the forest seems to shift around you. Not visibly, but with attention. Vines part slightly. Moss pulses faintly. The air thickens with a kind of knowing. The trail takes you past your own resting place. You see it now from above. The softened shell of who you were, nested in root and stone. And you do not mourn it. You feel tenderness, like seeing the house you grew up in after decades away, a place that shaped you, and now lets you go. A fringe belief from remote Andean villages says that every soul must walk their own forest once, meeting the versions of themselves they left behind in life. The child, the dreamer, the breaker, the healer. You meet none of them as figures, but you feel them, like footsteps beside you, like shadows not cast by any sun. And as you walk, the trail widens, not physically, but inwardly. You feel more space, more softness. Scholars debate whether these spirit paths are universal. Some claim they are cultural constructs. Others argue they are born in the brain's final flickers. But here, within this forest of breath and memory, debate feels irrelevant. This is real, not because it can be measured, but because it is felt. You pause beneath a towering tree. Its bark spirals like a fingerprint. Its roots are older than any map, and you recognize it. Not from life, but from dreams you never remembered upon waking. It is a guide, or perhaps a witness. In West African cosmology, sacred trees are seen as doorways, roots in this world, branches in the next. Spirits rest in their hollows, and only those who've returned to the earth may hear their language. You listen, and you hear it. Not words, but memory. Not sound, but truth. The tree does not greet you. It knows you, because you are made of the same presence now. The trail continues, not forward, but deeper. The forest no longer surrounds you. It includes you. You are within it, and it is within you. And somewhere up ahead, in the hush between two moments, a door is beginning to open. Not a door with hinges, but with silence. And the trail gently turns toward it. You step, though not with feet, into a grove where sound becomes presence. There is no wind, but the trees sing. There are no words, but the air hums with intention. You are entering the hollow trunk. Not a single tree, but a space between trees, within them, beneath them. Here echoes live. They do not repeat. They remember. The sound you once called your voice, the laughter you once shared, the breath that carried your last word. All of it lingers here, woven into the timbre of branches and the low chant of the forest floor. In ancient Finnish lore, the forest held metsän peitto, the hidden place where time stilled and sound folded inward. They believed souls passed through this veil to lose their shape, to become part of the forest's eternal listening. You are in that veil now. The hollow trunk is not empty. It contains your reverence. Above you, wind harps of vine and bark string themselves between branches. They do not play melody. They hold space. Each note they utter is a doorway. You pause. Your body, what remains of it, rests far behind now, and you feel the echoes that it left behind. Not organs or scent, but vibration. The way you once soothed a crying child. The way you gasped at beauty. The hush you held in moments of unspeakable sorrow. All of it echoes here. Some African drums are said to awaken the dead. Not by volume, but by rhythm. The beat reminds the soul of its first pattern, its birth song. You feel the pulse now, not external, but within. Like a drum remembering itself through you. Scholars still debate whether sound is carried beyond death, if frequency survives form. But this place does not debate. It reverberates. You lean against a tree that feels like breath. Its hollow center cradles your attention. You hear whispers, your own. Old apologies, old songs. The rustle of pages turned by candlelight. The distant ripple of rivers you once walked beside. These are not hallucinations. They are residue. The forest remembers what you gave it, not in offering, but in attention. And now, in return, it offers your own sound back to you. Refined, softened, sacred. A fringe tradition from coastal Japan speaks of Kaze no Kodama, the spirit echo. They believe the trees carry voices long after the speaker is gone, and that if you sit in silence long enough, you may hear the soul of a loved one in the creak of wood. You are creaking now, gently. Your voice, your past, your presence, braided into the tree song. Moss climbs the trunks like fingers pressing keys. Branches sway in rhythms only your spirit can decipher. You do not speak. You are spoken. Even the animals grow still here. A doe stands among the ferns, ears tilted, not toward sound, but toward essence. She does not run. She watches. She listens. To you, to the hollow you've become. The forest does not require answers, only presence, only reverence. You feel it now, a pressure behind silence. Not heavy, not loud, but meaningful. A gathering. In Irish lore, when a bard died, their harp was hung in a sacred grove, left to weather and wind. They believed its strings would play one last song as the spirit passed through. You are that harp now. Each breathless chord is your essence singing its goodbye, or perhaps its hello. Because not all ends are endings. Some are invitations. The hollow begins to close, not with finality, but with gentleness. The echoes settle into bark, the tones fade into root. And you, still luminous from silence, turn toward the deeper trail, where light and sound have no separation, where meaning no longer needs a mouth. The trail does not end, it blossoms. You emerge from the hollow into a clearing that pulses with life, but not the life of motion, the life of becoming. Flowers bloom in spirals around the place where your body once lay. Petals open slowly, as if breathing in your memory. Colors you've never seen before, hues that feel like emotions, stretch upward into the light. You have become the blooming. Your flesh, now long surrendered, has fed roots, which fed stems, which now feed bees. And so, you are flying too. This is the flowering. Somewhere beyond the canopy, the sun warms what used to be your ribcage. A sapling leans into that light, its thin green fingers tracing the shape of the sky. You feel it, not as sensation, but as resonance. In Maori tradition, when someone passes, their spirit is said to travel to a sacred tree at the tip of the island, where it turns into mist, then sea, then wind. But many elders say the spirit also becomes flax, fern, fruit, so the people may eat and be nourished by their ancestors' grace. You feel yourself inside these blossoms. Your minerals feed chlorophyll. Your calcium stiffens stem. Your moisture becomes dew, kissed by morning birds. There's a story from South India, rarely spoken aloud, that some souls choose to remain as trees, not for reincarnation, but to offer shade. Just shade. You would choose that too. You, who once needed comfort, now offer it without being seen. Children may one day rest beneath your branches. Lovers may kiss in the golden hush of your leaves. Wanderers may pass without knowing why the air feels gentler there. But you will know. Scholars still debate whether the dead transform physically into plant life, or whether it is simply symbolic. But the forest is not debating, it is blooming. And you are the reason. Even your silence has become fruitful. Beetles crawl over stems that once knew pain. Butterflies gather where your heart once beat. And oh, how the fruit glistens. Not in hunger, but in promise. Your soul has no need for food, but something in you is glad to nourish. In an old desert myth, the sweetest figs grow from the graves of poets. You smile at the thought, or perhaps the tree that holds your laughter does. A bloom opens near your ear. If you still had ears, you'd hear it sigh. You no longer walk. You no longer wait. You are here. You are offering. You are transformation in its quietest form. This is not a grave. It is a garden. And not one for tending. One for remembering. The wind gathers your scent, carries it softly through branches, across meadows, into dreams. Somewhere someone weeps without knowing why, and suddenly breathes in the smell of wildflowers, and feels comfort. That is you. You are not gone. You are everywhere the light touches. And just ahead, where petals meet mist, a grove opens. Not the one you know, but the one that knows you. And it waits. Patient. Luminous. Still. The grove greets you without surprise. It has been waiting, not because it knew when you'd come, but because it never forgot that you would. You move into it now, though there is no motion. You arrive, though there is no distance. This is the place where trees remember names, but not the names others called you, the one your soul answers to when all other sounds are gone. The bark here is thicker, softer, carved with grooves that hum faintly, like breath drawn from ancient lungs. In many Celtic traditions, trees are considered ancestral keepers. The Crann Bethad, the tree of life, connects the underworld, the human world, and the divine. You are part of that weave now. Each tree in this grove bears memory, not like books, but like hearts. You pass by one with bark split just so, and you feel it. The moment you forgave someone who never asked. Another, whose roots curl gently inward, echoes with your first real laughter. You are not haunted. You are held. Somewhere in northern Mongolia, there is a belief that each person becomes a tree at the edge of the world. And when the wind blows through its branches, that soul speaks to those they left behind. You feel the breeze rise now. It brushes through the grove, rustling leaves that shimmer gold and indigo. And the forest speaks, not in language, but in recognition. Some fringe beliefs say that every time someone remembers you, a tree you became blooms again. Even if they don't know your name, even if they only recall your kindness in a moment of silence. You bloom now, because someone, somewhere, just smiled thinking of you. The trees sway in time, not to music, but to meaning. And you begin to sense that these trees are not separate from you. They are you, not metaphor, not symbol, but continuation. In the Pacific Northwest, tribes plant cedar trees atop graves. They believe cedar roots find the soul and carry it upward, so it may stand tall in the world again. You are standing now, not on ground, as ground. Your old name has dissolved, but your essence remains in every ring, every leaf, every branch that stretches toward starlight. Scholars debate whether trees possess consciousness, but standing here among these quiet sentinels, you feel known in a way no mind ever could explain. A deer steps into the grove. It lowers its head, not in fear, in greeting, because the creatures of the forest know this grove. They visit not for food, but for remembering. Birds nest in your branches. They sing without permission. You would have given it, had they asked. A child one day will pass through here, dragging a stick, humming a made-up song, and feel peace for reasons they can't name. That too is you. The grove holds your rhythm, and when night comes, the leaves catch starlight like tiny prayers returned. In Japanese Shinto belief, the Kodama, tree spirits, dwell in old forests, and when they are disturbed, the entire mountain listens. You are not disturbed. You are whole. The grove becomes quieter now, not with absence, with fullness, as if it has remembered all it needs to, and now it invites you to rest. There is one more forest, one more turn of the trail. The trees part gently, revealing a deeper hush. You do not hesitate, because now you no longer walk the forest. You are it, and the next step is not forward, it is inward. You enter the grove beyond the grove. This is not a place, but a presence. Not a forest you walk through, but one that unfolds within you. There is no light here, yet nothing is hidden. There is no sound, yet everything is known. This is where the journey ends, or rather, dissolves. All that you once were, the voice, the weight, the shape, the longings, softens into stillness. Not silence as absence, silence as completion. In this space there are no trees, and yet all trees are here. Their roots entwine through memory and spirit, forming a web so ancient no beginning can be found. In some Mayan traditions, the soul passes into a ceiba tree after death, ascending through its roots to the sky, its branches spanning every realm. You rise now, not as wind, not as ash, but as awareness. There are others here, not seen, not heard, felt. They do not speak your name, they speak your being. Every kindness you gave without witness, every sorrow you cradled alone, every time you paused to admire a leaf, they remember. You are not judged, you are known. A fringe tradition from the Himalayan plateaus tells of the Forest of Echoes, a realm where spirits go not to wait, but to listen, to the final echo of their own existence. You are listening now, to the way your life rippled gently through the lives of others, how it lingered in unseen corners, in laughter that carried on without you, in decisions made because of a word you once spoke. The grove holds all of it. Scholars may call this symbolic, a poetic imagining of entropy and legacy. But in this stillness, labels fall away. You are not dead. You are distilled, refined into presence, poured into everything. Even the forest exhales you now. With each breeze, a fragment of your spirit dances through leaves. Not as ghost, as gratitude. In many cultures, the dead become ancestors not by lineage, but by love. You feel that now. Not a pedestal, but a return. You have walked the ritual, the moss, the mushrooms, the rain, the songs, the shadows, the blooming, the remembering. And now you rest in the mystery behind it all. A tree falls, somewhere far off. Its echo reaches you like a lullaby, not an end, a turning. The grove beyond the grove does not close. It holds, forever unfolding, forever still. You are home.